on the senior Alexa?
Oh, you haven't seen
You've
it?
got to look at it. You've got to look at it.
Honestly, I don't even know if we'll have TVs at the house.
It's on Facebook now. Just go
Okay.
check it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the way I usually learn things. Brandon
It's on
over there is
Facebook.
like, hey, go to YouTube and check
Yeah,
this out.
YouTube.
YouTube, check
Yeah.
this out. So
It's-
that's how I get caught up
It's
on
very
things.
appropriate. It's called Alexa Silver,
Mm.
and it's for people that are older that can't remember her name, so she answers to any name. Just stuff
Alice.
like, stuff like that.
I'm pretty certain it's going to be pretty funny.
It's
It
very
is, it's
funny.
great. Yeah, it's only about 2 or 3 minutes, but it's awesome.
Oh, we're live?
We're rolling. Yeah.
We
I
are
love it.
rolling.
Hey.
See, look at that. See, we got one here. We got one. Well, we got several
We're
over there.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're a little over there.
nice.
Yeah.
Good morning, how are you?
Well, you know what? I'm fabulous. So on this jam session,
Yeah,
Lyn and Bob Innes stops by.
how about that?
You like
You
it?
made it.
You made it after a 2-hour drive from McKinney
Yes.
because of weather today. I really appreciate you. This is our 60th jam session, guys. Our 60th jam
No
session.
way,
That's awesome.
congratulations, man.
Well,
That's
thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, we
pretty
we
cool.
feel pretty good about it.
You should.
We
That's
feel
really
pretty
well.
good about it. Well, you know, we do these things, and I've been doing them now for, pretty much 60 weeks straight, is, hopefully to bring attention to my partner's brands,
Sure,
right? I know that camera right there, they all know you,
sure.
right? For the most part, they should know you. Hopefully these other 3 cameras, maybe there's going to be some people that will meet you guys for the first time,
Sure.
Right.
and they reach out to us via email and say, oh my gosh, Bob, thanks for introducing us to, Innes team. And that is why we do stuff like this, right? Is to
Sure.
hopefully help promote
Well, we
your
like
guys'
working with
brands.
you.
Yeah, we've always enjoyed the synergy that we can create, because this business is about creating.
It's about synergy, it's about experience, it's about creation, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much about experience anymore because technology has really taken over.
Client experience.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Client
absolutely.
experience, not experience as in, I have 22 years in the business,
Right,
do what I
that's
say.
That's exactly
Right?
what I mean.
That doesn't exist, I don't think. Well, it
People-
shouldn't, right? People are the consumers
people
out
look
there
for
getting
more
more.
than that.
They
Yeah,
do.
Right.
So from a macro standpoint, for those that don't know you over here, kind of like a 30,000 foot view of you guys, just to get us started.
I'm bald. Have a goatee. I told you, see, we're gonna laugh.
That
a
is
lot.
really,
We're
I
gonna
don't know if
laugh.
that's macro or
30,000
micro, but that is pretty
30,000.
micro right there. We can all tell that.
And Lyn, of course, is my secret weapon. She's so pretty and smart. So
I love that.
we're both retired, and
For about 4 months, I
Yeah.
retired from one place and started real estate, so.
Yes.
Not really retired.
So I want to get into that as to why that and the transition and all those kind of things. But okay, so macro, you're bald and she's awesome.
yeah, she is. She's our secret weapon. I mean, the reason we're successful is because of her.
That's
She
very sweet.
everybody-
It takes 2.
but everybody
In our-
loves her.
In our world, it
and
takes
she'll
both
talk
of
to
us.
she'll talk to an elevator door.
Right.
And not many people will do that.
So let's get right out of the gate then. Let's talk about working with your spouse, because my wife and I work together.
Yeah,
The best words I say is yes, dear.
yeah.
So tell me the dynamics of working with your spouse. How that's working. I mean, what the challenge
I
is.
would say, we get glad quicker than we get mad,
Oh,
okay?
You can write that.
Okay.
down if you like.
I got it on camera. It's everywhere.
Yeah, we get glad quicker than we get mad, and that's the way we work together. We each have our duties that we try not to cross over,
Yep.
although there's times when we need to get each other's input, so.
Sure.
We have our jobs and we do them well.
My wife and I, we always say we sweat the small things. The big stuff we got.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Yeah.
we're in it. I mean,
That's pretty
we're
much
in
it.
it
You're right.
together, right? We're in it to win it together. It's
Yeah.
it's family. It's us. So the big things, we're like, all right, let's get it. Let's tackle it.
Mm-hmm.
The small stuff like take out the trash, Bob.
Right,
That's the things we sweat, right? It's like, I don't want to, but you got to. That's your job. It's like, oh. And, those are the little things is what get us.
That's right.
Well, Lyn takes out the trash at our house, and I'm not bragging. She has to do that because she's also my caregiver, because a couple years ago, as you know, I was diagnosed
Mm-hmm.
with lung cancer. So there's not a lot I can do physically, just because of that. I have some limitations I have to kind of pay attention to.
And I think that's a small price to pay to have him sitting here. So you would definitely be okay with taking out the
Yes.
trash.
Yes, no problem.
Right, exactly.
And he, by the way, guys, he's in remission. He's doing great, and praise God.
Praise the
We're
Lord
blessed.
for that. Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
very blessed.
God's the whole reason we're here.
I love it. So let's talk about why we're here in the jam session right now. Let's talk about just get into some real estate type stuff. 'Cause I want to get some more personal things, but you know, there's a lot of reports that come out about different metropolitan areas and what's good, what's not good. I think Realtor.com released something recently about the best places to live in America.
Sure,
Yeah,
Frisco is number
Frisco was
one.
number one.
Frisco's number one, guys.
And
Why-
in
I mean,
fact,
get-
they were the
why?
only one in Texas that was
It is. They-
listed on the list, Frisco.
And
They
there's-
are.
There's so
To
many
me, that
lists.
covers all
yeah.
of Collin County, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much Collin County.
Frisco
I mean,
wouldn't say that, I'm sure, but.
no.
There's so many lists out there. There's another one where the top 3 markets, housing markets in the country are Frisco, McKinney, and Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, so it depends on, what list. What we try and pay attention to is the customer experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all we're focused on.
Mhm.
And we're going to use even more technology just because we're associated with Keller Williams. It probably early first quarter, there'll be an end-to-end customer experience, which doesn't exist now. What that means is, right now, there's voyeurism and search. That's what the prospective home buyer or seller does, is they search on the internet, okay? 90%.
93% of
Yeah.
all buyers start online searching for a
Yeah.
home. And they start with the worst places, Zillow, Realtor.com, and Trulia.
Yeah.
Those suck, guys. Get off of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
All they do is sell your data.
First of all, they don't get the accurate data because they're too slow. They don't, we are faster with our data because of that.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not the agent, but correct me if I'm wrong. When you go in to MLS, when you get a listing, you have options. You can put it in MLS or you can put it in these public sites, right? These public sites are Realtor.com, Zillow, and Trulia, and blah, 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 right? Well, a lot of times, sellers don't want the house on the public sites. They just want it tied to the agents, which is
Right.
MLS.
Right.
So you don't put it there.
That's an
Is that a clean example?
yeah, because
Yes,
that's
you can have the option of not putting it there, yes,
Okay.
as a seller.
So to your point,
In
that's
your
why,
agreement, yeah.
that's why some of those homes aren't going to be
Yeah.
on those sites that the buyers are searching, right?
Some
Well,
people
that's-
don't want that public, sometimes they don't even want their address shown,
Sure.
which,
On
is
the
not
public
as much
stuff.
visibility that way, but there's an ability when you work with an agent to have privacy for
Mm-hmm.
the seller when they ask for it.
Absolutely.
The other option, because it's Keller Williams listing service, KWLS, is within about 12 to 15 minutes, your listing can be absolutely distributed to over 400 internet sites, including Zillow Realtor. So we don't literally have to do anything except put the listing on MLS and it goes, unless we say don't go.
Unless you
You
say
have
don't
choices.
go.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
have choices.
You have choices.
Yeah,
and that's
and-
what technology is doing. I
Yeah.
mean,
I agree. I think that the tech piece, there's a balance between it in both of our industries, right?
sure.
Technology,
Sure.
we call these disruptors. I love them. I don't mind disruptors. I don't mind companies coming in, technology coming in, and creating change, because that's what continues to help us
Sure.
evolve. The ones
Sure.
that are really in this every
Sure.
day and working towards that ultimate customer experience, it's just we're gonna use it to better our service levels, right?
Exactly. There's a couple of things that we came back from Mega Camp the middle of August, I guess it was. And 3 years ago, Gary Keller stood on stage. We all thought he lost his mind. And this is Gary Keller we're talking about. Said, we're now a technology company. We're no longer
Sure.
a real estate company.
Yep.
So we'll get into that a little bit as well. What that really means is, and I shared this with your wife, I don't know if you got to see it, probably not. She probably had Bob off, when I shared it, but we can do something
Right.
that nobody else can. We actually started 3 years ago building our own industry real estate specific cloud.
Uh-huh.
It's called Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Catchy name. And what that means is anybody else, and I won't mention names, any of our competitors that are using the cloud, they're paying somebody for that cloud, and it's not industry specific.
Okay.
They're just using the space in the cloud.
Sure.
See, what we can do is we can say, Kelly, snap for 75225, and within 2 or 3 seconds, we'll have a microcosm snapshot that we can email or text you of what is going on in that zip code. Days on market, average sold price, price per square foot, all this information.
So go back. I mean, I've been doing this 22 years, so I'm gonna go back for my sake.
Okay.
22 years ago, if I called an agent and asked them for that information, how long would it take them to get it to me?
Well, it wouldn't
At least
be
a
a
week.
snap.
It wouldn't be a snap, would it?
That's
I mean,
why it's called Snap.
yeah. I mean,
It takes a
w-
little
yeah.
bit more time to look
Yeah.
through the data.
right. You gotta. I mean, you would have to go through the systems and put the data together and calculate it yourself. It's like me. And granted, I still have this, guys.
can't
This
believe-
is
I've
this
got
is
one of
my
those.
HP 12C calculator that I've had since '96. It's missing the back, but this is the way I calculated all my principal and interest. It's the way I calculated my APRs, my future value, present value. Everything was done on this.
Yeah.
Now, which is good, technology came in, and I can put it in, and then you almost immediately have all those things.
Have the answers
Right.
that quick.
I love the fact that I learned here.
Yeah,
Because you
that's-
can't outwork me on that, right?
Yeah, you can.
If I'm out where I don't have my computer, I always got my calculator. I can pull it out and calculate it.
I love it. I
But-
love it. That's awesome.
The Snap is something that nobody else can do. And if you're going to start, let's just say one of our competitors says we bought a cloud service, you're already 3 years behind. And there's no way you're going to catch us.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense,
it's,
yeah.
It's in our app. We have the
I have
app.
it on my phone.
That's-
Okay.
And
it's
so
an
I
app
sent
that
your
we're
wife,
using, yeah.
this is probably right after we got back from Mega Camp. I sent your wife and she was just blown away. She's like, no way. You know.
So that quick, you get the data, and then you can distribute it
And
to
it's
your
for that zip code.
potential
It's
clients.
not going to be for your house. It's just going to
Sure,
be for your
sure.
zip code, and it gives you averages of everything. Okay. The other piece that we're building, and it's already in test right now, is your database is your business. That's been Gary Keller's and our big thing. Okay?
Sure.
It has to be. You have to own your data.
Right.
And if you use Lion Desk or somebody else, you're giving them the opportunity to sell and market the data that you have in your database.
Mhm.
Unless you tell them you can't do that. So if you don't own your data, you don't own your business. Make sense?
Makes
All right,
perfect sense
that's
to me.
Two points that we brought up. The third one is that's command. It's called command. You're gonna think we've been on drugs this morning. Okay, what I'm going to tell you next.
Okay.
So because this is artificial intelligence, which is the fourth industrial revolution.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we're going to be able to tell an agent, me and Lynn, for example, or any Keller Williams agent, if you took or want to take a listing for a $300,000 house, because of artificial intelligence and the technology, we're going to tell you, the computer's going to tell you, you might want to consider listing presentation number 3, because
Okay.
that presentation, people that use that sold that house for $300,000 in less than 30 days. Or 4 might take you 45 days, or number 12 might take you 60 days. It's going to be so much more efficient for us, which is going to allow us to serve the client better in the customer experience, because we are using information that nobody else, number 1, has, and number 2, it works.
And this technology, these things that are out there, eventually, right, could become pieces of technology that the consumer has access to. Do you ever worry about stuff like that devaluing what you guys do, what your industry does as agents, and having consumers choose to do things on their own?
No, not really.
Because these things get in their fingertips, right?
Right. Well, you know, they want to be involved, and they should be involved.
Yep.
They should be, let me rephrase it, they should be heavily involved, and we want them to be heavily involved. What we're trying to do is give them information that is more exacting, more accurate, faster, so that they can make their decision better. Because and this is gonna shock you too, but you know I'm known to do this, Bob. But you invited
I'm
me.
on the hot seat, so
You invited me. I don't pay attention to there's a shift in the market, it's a
Yep.
seller's market, it's a buyer's market. Is it a good time to buy a house? Is it a good time to sell? Who cares? If you want to buy a house, you're going to buy a house. If you want to sell a house, you're going to sell a house.
it's been happening that way since buying and
So-
selling houses came about. I mean,
So I don't pay attention to any of those, and I think the client wins because of that. Because you tell me and Lynn what you want done, okay? Then it's our job to put together the game plan to make that happen. Just like with you, when somebody comes in for a loan, you have to put together a game plan of how to make that happen.
look, the technology is wonderful, and I agree completely with you guys that I love it to be in the seller's, buyer's hands to get them involved heavily. But just like in my industry, it's not a push button get mortgage kind of deal.
Right.
It doesn't exist
You
at this
not
point.
Rocket?
No, I'm better than them for sure.
That was your chance right
Yeah,
there.
I'm completely better than that.
Softball question.
Well, yeah, exactly. Thanks for teeing it up there for me. But the big thing is, it's the technology's allowed our clients to become more educated. I get buyers coming to me that have now maybe 60, 70, 80% of the knowledge. They think they have 120.
Right. They
But-
think
oh
Right.
boy, do they, you know?
But it's 60, 70, 80% of that knowledge, which is great because then I can confirm that,
Right.
and then we're really firming up the other 20, 30% that they don't have. And so the time that I get to spend with them has come down, but my impact has gone up.
Sure.
Oh, cool.
Right? So we're impacting them at a much higher level, but actually with less time.
See, that
The other
makes
thing-
all the sense in the world. It
And
does.
and the other thing technology has allowed us to do is scale, right? I mean, it used to be belly to belly. Every meeting was an hour and a half to 2 hours. There's only so many hours in a day. There's only so many loans you can do.
There's
Right.
only one Bob.
Exactly.
Right.
Now I can use technology, use our online systems, use our apps, use our videos, use just our ability to provide that smooth experience that we would provide belly to belly online or semi-online with a couple initial calls and then do it. And I expand that all across the United States. And now I can reach more people, do more loans, and actually deliver a better experience to that person than what I could have if they were in the office
Sure.
or for one meeting.
See, that makes all the sense in the world, and Lynn could talk more.
I can't talk right now.
Well, that was
Sorry.
my cue, sorry. But Lynn can talk more about, you know, we wake up every day saying, how can we do it better?
Right.
Not for us, for the customer. And if you're not waking up every morning as a real estate agent asking yourself or your team that question, I don't know that you're going to be as successful as you could be.
Well, what's happening out in the McKinney market right now? I know that's a big market. I mean, you guys service Collin County, but I mean,
Yeah.
McKinney. I mean, that's kind of your home base, right?
That's where
Yeah.
our home is, yeah.
That's where our home is.
Okay. So let's talk to me about what's going on out there.
The increase in inventory, you want to take this one, Lynn?
There's a lot happening, actually. There's a lot of buyers, there's a lot of sellers, and we're just trying to get those two together, and there's a lot of options. So there's a few more sellers right now.
So inventory's kind of picked up a
Yeah,
little
a little
bit.
bit.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's healthy. I mean, it's not
I
bad.
mean, there's been people here that have been waiting for quite a while to put their house on the market. We have questions all the time that, is it the right time? When should I buy a house? Should I hold off? You know, they ask those questions, and we always tell people, if you're a buyer, buy right. Meaning don't overbuy, buy right.
Right.
Buy
You-
something that you can stay in, that you like, that
In 5 years, is this house going to start be a facility that works for you in 5 years? Based on, are you having more kids? Are you downsizing? Is your mother-in-law coming to live with you? You have to care for her.
Wait. You guys ask those questions when you're with a buyer? You just don't get them into a home and that's it? I mean, you actually take the time to do this?
We tell people, look, let's get a plan. We have calls every week from people that are referred, and, you know, we're looking at what we want to do, and we may be 6 months out or a year, and we say, let's just meet and set up a plan.
Okay.
You know, if your plan is a year from now, great.
Okay.
We're not gonna say you need to do something now when your plan is a year from now, but let's make a plan. There's things that take time. You know, if there's work that needs to be done in your house and you wanna sell it for the top dollar, you may need a little time to make those updates. You know, you may need a little time to save a little more money. You we send them to you, and you're the one that tells them, what time is it really today? Do we buy now, or do we get our credit fixed?
Right. Yep.
You know, so there's all those issues, but sit down with us and let us make a plan.
It's about a strategy.
Yeah.
But how could we possibly develop a strategy if we don't know what your year to 5 year goals are with your home? How can we do that?
Yeah, and you look at it from a buyer's perspective, and you know, you got to break out things like must-haves.
Yeah, those
Would
kinds
like
of
to
Should have, would like to have, and like
we
your
make-
awesome wish list type stuff, right? I mean, because I mean,
Do
those,
I need to sell my house first, or do
Sure.
I need to buy something first and then sell my house? I mean, down to the dollar and down to those kinds of questions that you need to look at as far as where you're going to go and how you're going to get this executed to move to your dream home.
So tips then could be, let's find out first how much you can qualify for.
That's
Sure,
really,
Right.
absolutely.
really key.
That's a big tip
And you know,
when you're
the
looking to
other
buy a
thing
house.
is how much do you want your house payment to be? Like
Sure.
someone say, oh, I want to look up to 500, and then they realize how much that house payment will cost.
It's not 1,800.
And
Right.
so they're like, well, I think I'm going to stick to the 300. Don't start looking at houses that you can't afford or don't want to afford. Maybe you
Right.
can afford, but you don't want.
That's a big. That's a great
buying
point.
right.
That's a great point because we do have conversations with clients all the time that where we talk about, okay, we're going to tell you what your max qualification level is,
Good point. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But based on the conversation that we're having, where you want your out-of-pocket expense, monthly payments, that
Yes.
thing, I'm going to set your expectations as to what price that delivers. You may be qualified for 500, but based on what you're telling me, payment out of pocket, you're sitting at 300.
Yeah, and most
Right.
people, I think, and I know you probably would agree, is you can usually qualify for more
We do.
than you want to spend.
We do see that. We do see that quite often.
So why not key into those amounts and let's look at houses that are in that price range.
Mm-hmm. Now, if they're ready to make an offer, like, you know, they're thinking about, hey, I'd like to make an offer.
Yeah.
What are some things that are important, like a couple of tips to give a buyer? Well, hey, I'm ready to make an offer. What's
Well, you need to
for
have
success?
a pre-qualification letter.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you
Right.
very
We got
much.
that.
From Bob, yep.
And
Yep.
the market, maybe there's a few more houses on the market right now, but the sellers are very interested to know if you're qualified
Mm-hmm.
and if you can buy their house if they accept your offer. So that's really number one.
Number one.
Number one.
How important right now? I know we're not into shifts and all those kind of things, but we see, a little bit of a tick up in different things. How important is still acting fast
Well,
in a deal like it? Oh, I'm going to take the weekend, or I'm going to take the week to think about it. I mean, houses are gone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so
It's still moving fast, especially those houses that are priced just right. There's some houses that are overpriced, and they're not moving as quickly. So it really does pay to be with someone that knows how to price your house.
I think
Don't look on Zillow.
Yeah,
I'm
please
talking
don't.
about pricing
Please
your
don't do
house
that.
to sell.
Based on a competitive market analysis that your real estate agent can provide you, because that's the most accurate you're going to get.
Coming in and actually, I take a look at your house, like not just how pretty it is, but what do you have in it that's of value and that makes your house better than your neighbor's.
Mm-hmm.
And
So you're talking about from a listing standpoint,
that's
how to
from the
price the house or
Yeah.
sell. Now, from a
But from a
buyer,
buyer-
well, from a buyer standpoint, it kind of goes in line with that, maybe making a strong offer or
Well, I
competitive
just-
offer.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this house has been on the market for 38 days. I'm going to go in 20 grand under.
Yeah.
that's a huge
Let me
mistake
just
you're
say
making.
something about the market in that regard. Because
Okay.
there's a lot of buyers out there that have said to me, well, I can see that house has been on the market for 100 days. So I'm sure not going to offer them what they're asking because they're desperate.
Gotcha.
They've been on the market a long time. Let me just say this, it's usually the opposite. If a house has been on the market for a long time, generally means that the seller's not willing to come down on price.
Interesting point.
The real estate agent can only do so much, but to your
It's
point.
their final decision whether they're gonna sell or not.
And
Sure.
I just taught a class a week ago in Ignite, which is a training system we have for new agents
Uh-huh.
for Keller Williams. And what we do is, the class I taught was making and receiving offers. So one of the things that we always say you need to do is agent needs to do their homework before making an offer. In other words, we should do the comparative market analysis
Absolutely.
first.
Mm-hmm.
Before you make an offer.
Because we know they're qualified, we've gotten a letter, we know they're qualified for this much. So then when we present the competitive market analysis, then we tell them our opinion. It's all it is an opinion. We cannot tell them, well, you should offer $20,000 below or above. It doesn't quite work that way, and that's a huge mistake, I think.
Right.
But then what we do is say, here's what the market says the house is worth.
Yep.
You decide what you want to offer based on all the financial information you have. We even ask them to get with an insurance agent to find out how much your homeowner's insurance is going to be.
Sure. Yeah.
It has to be a complete package that we're offering for the customer experience to be end to end. So once they say, well, Bob, that house is listed at 300, the comps support 290, let's go 290. That's maybe 10,000, but if the comps support that, then we can deal with the agent, with the listing agent, and say, guess what? We can't see why you listed at 300. And a lot of times we'll hear this, I didn't want to do it,
But
they made me do
but
it.
they made me do it,
We hear
right?
that, we hear that almost all the time.
Yep. And that's the emotional side of this business, and
It
that's
is
why
very
I love what you're saying, Bob, is look, stick to the facts.
Yep.
The numbers don't
Take
lie.
the emotion out of
Right.
it.
Take the emotion out, numbers don't lie, stick to those things, and then make a solid offer. So we got a couple of tips here, guys. We got make sure you're qualified.
Sure.
Right. Know
Number
what that
one,
is.
Please.
Right. Act fast. So if you find a house, I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want to take a week to figure it out. I mean, if you find a house, let's make an offer on it. So acting fast is important. Making a good offer, right? So making a solid offer on a home is going to be a good one, and then
Based on your market data, it has to be, we won't make an offer. And I've had people, I'll tell you a quick story, and you can get to the point.
no, yeah, you're good.
But we have a couple of high dollar investors that wanted to buy land last year. And so the price of the land was right at $885,000.
Okay.
They offered $675,000. Yeah, I'm looking in your eyes. and so then he
A
calls
little
me,
bit underpriced.
calls me 2 days later, and he says, well, are they going to accept our offer? Have you heard from them? I said, no, I'm not going to hear from them.
Yeah.
I said, why not? I said, because you insulted them.
Right.
And,
Yep.
and
Don't
here's the deal,
insult
the
somebody.
counter, they're not gonna counter at all. Because
Everybody,
you didn't even come close to what they were asking.
Right. Here would be my counter. What was the list price?
$885.
I would go $995.
Yeah.
Right. I would say, you want to go that way? I'm going to go the other way.
Hey, we should try that.
Yeah, I'm going to counter up.
Yeah, right. Well, but I mean, see, that's to me, that is the thing, is don't insult somebody. Everybody wants a deal, right?
Yeah.
But it's different when you're selling land versus a house, completely
But
different.
there it goes back to look in your price range,
Stay in
so
your
that
price
you're not
range.
trying to get someone to come down $200,000.
To buy,
Because
right.
it's not gonna happen.
So when you make that offer, I think probably the last thing is then just be prepared to negotiate.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean, there's
yeah.
going to be some negotiations on
always-
both sides,
it's
right? There's
all
a give and
negotiable.
take,
Yes.
right?
It's all
So and I think that's, you find value, right? We talk about value in
Sure.
a lot of the things that we do.
Sure.
That's a big part of y'all's value is your ability to leverage technology, to
Sure.
embrace these types of disruptions to provide a great experience. But then it's understanding the market, understanding the comps. It's knowing how to properly negotiate and the things to negotiate on.
Yeah, it's
Sometimes,
more than just price.
exactly. Some people just want to negotiate price, but there's other things, right?
Sure.
So what else could you negotiate?
Well, you could negotiate the time that you can move in the house. If you're gonna need to work with them on a lease back.
Right?
You could negotiate, you wanna look for like your home warranty.
Uh-huh.
Are they gonna pay for that, or am I gonna
Absolutely.
pay for that,
Yep.
the seller or the buyer?
Sure.
There's the title.
Title policy.
Yeah, title
When you
policy.
close.
Yep.
You know, the closing date. All of those things are negotiable. And let me tell you, it's not real fun if you're negotiating on your behalf. I think it's better if you take yourself out of the picture and let us do that for you.
Well, and you also
Because
look at
it's just easier.
another big one is repairs.
Oh, well, I didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, I mean that's
the
a big
inspection.
one when
You've
it comes
got to have an
to.
inspection, and then there's got to be some negotiations there. Sometimes price needs to come down. Sometimes the seller needs to do some repairs that they weren't necessarily thinking about.
Right.
We have
But,
stories that just,
You know.
We
So
have-
that's
we
a big one. How
have-
could I forget? That's the fun part.
Well, it is. I mean, because it's a make or break a lot of times, and it's how you are able to bridge the gap. Because a lot of times, I mean, obviously, I've sold a home, and you know what? I had the best house on the market. I knew it was going to sell way overpriced. I knew there was nothing wrong with it. That's what a seller is,
it
right?
sounds like
Of course.
BobMortgage to me.
No, but that's what every seller says.
Yeah.
They
every
believe
buyer-
they've already fixed the house as much as they're going to fix
Yep.
it. So
And every buyer, when they get that inspection,
they want
they look at it and say
everything done.
it's all or nothing, and you know all these things are make or break.
Yeah.
But the reality is they're not.
It's
right?
working together
The
to
caulking-
get to the end.
The
conclusion.
caulking's not a make or break in a lot of times,
No.
right?
No.
Right.
But ACs, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's give give
The roof.
to receive. Give
Right.
these small things that add up to nothing, but let's take
Yeah.
the bigger ones,
We
right?
tell people
Yeah.
on their inspection report as a buyer, you know, let's talk about, use this as a list when you move in. Some of the things on the list
Uh-huh.
is your guidebook to fix when you move in.
Gotcha. Yep.
Because, you know, they're not going to always fix those little cosmetic things. But if anything major that's going to cost a lot of out of pocket, then those are the things we work with the seller.
And here's a tip, I want to make sure we get in.
I love it.
The the seller is not going to pay for what you want to do to the house cosmetically once you buy it. You know, we want to rip out the carpet. Well, they're not going to do that. We want to knock down this wall, open this up,
Sure.
you know, extend the patio. Those are cosmetic things that you, the buyer, are going to pay for. The seller's not even going to entertain it.
Right.
So be careful as a buyer, what you're going to ask for, because a lot of times you're not going to get a second, third, and fourth chance. You've got one shot, and you need to do it well, and the way you do it is to hire us.
Yeah, and then so we talk about like the negotiation side of it, and they say, well, you know, this is going to be a couple $1,000s, right? And so I've talked to clients, and they have the money,
Yep.
right? I'm like, look, at the end of the day, you could go to the seller and ask them to pay for this $2,500, $3,000 worth of repair work, right?
Sure.
Why don't you just ask them instead of that?
Yep.
Ask them
Yep.
to pay some closing cost.
Sure.
We'll use that to buy down the interest rate, and now we've turned that $2,500 into $7,000 or $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000.
That's awesome.
That's the way
Right.
to
So
do it.
it's just working strategically with all parties to say, look, maybe what you think you want, if we could get it to something that's much better, that gives you really a lower total cost of
Sure.
ownership, if they have the money. I mean, you know, if they don't, and this is really important, then yeah, you stick with getting the repairs.
No, I
but-
think that's a really good idea, and I'm glad that you brought that up.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Look at that. So give me a fun fact for you guys. Give me that camera may know, but maybe not. Something that people don't know about you.
Shoot, people know everything about
Oh,
us.
come
because
on. A fun
I
fact.
used to have
Wow.
hair.
You used to.
He did have hair when I met him, yes, 39 years ago. Most people even know that.
We want a picture of you with hair to push out on
You
this
should
at
have
some
brought
point.
that
You
with
could
you.
post it. This is obviously going to be distributed out there on all
Sure.
social.
He'll
you could
do
just
it.
He
you could
loves
just
it.
post
He
a
loves
picture in the
attention.
comments
Yeah.
with your hair.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't know is Lyn can cook. I mean, not just average in the kitchen. I mean,
Okay.
outstanding. Now, she's not a gourmet chef because I don't eat gourmet food.
No, I grew up in Texas.
Chicken
I
fried
cooked
steak.
Southern food,
Yeah, yeah.
biscuits, gravy.
Mm.
So we try not to be too active in the kitchen these days.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I used to
that-
play in a band.
Yeah, Bob used to be a drummer, and he still is because he drums everything: his legs, his table, his desk.
You're a drummer, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. And he got a scholarship to go to UNT. He lived in Mississippi, and the funny thing is that's where our daughter ended up going. Long story short, he didn't go there.
Had a
Small
scholarship to
world.
the 4
Everything
o'clock
that you
lab
do
band.
comes back around, so be careful.
Really?
Yeah, 4 o'clock. They put me in the 4 o'clock band after they heard me at a performance at Loyola University in New Orleans, because our lab band had 23 people. It had echoplexes, steel drums, and this is 1971, folks.
Wow.
Yeah, we were reading professional charts. Buddy Rich, Stan Kenton, Doc Severinsen, Johnny Richards. We were reading Maynard Ferguson. We were reading all these charts, and we were blowing anybody away because our band director believed we could pull it off, and his belief in us made us do it. So that's a little unknown fact there. What about you?
That's a really great fun fact.
Thanks.
What about me?
Yeah, give us one about you that we don't know. I feel like we know so much about you.
I live a pretty public life
Well, I was
during
gonna say, we're all pretty public, yeah.
during the work. You don't see a whole lot on weekends. I try to keep that, with family and stuff like that. But by default, with my wife being in the business with me and being
Sure.
a partner in this,
Sure.
we are pretty vocal together. But probably a fun fact for me, I've played in a couple of baseball World Series.
No way!
Yeah.
I had no idea. Brandon, did you know that?
I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
well.
Brandon did, but see, maybe
Okay.
these cameras don't. That camera
Yeah.
probably won't. But yeah, a couple baseball World Series.
Wow,
Yeah,
that must have been exciting.
Now, granted, I was
Go ahead and
like
tell us a little
I was like
more.
16 and 17 years old, but it
Hey.
wasn't.
Very cool.
It
So
wasn't major
you were a
league.
baseball player
Yeah, I
from
was.
T-ball up, huh?
I was. I played growing up in South Central Texas. You play
Sure.
football, basketball, baseball,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did.
track. I mean, you play whatever they got.
So you are an athlete.
He
I would
is.
consider myself that.
He
It's
is.
changed a little bit. My
Well-rounded.
sport has become my business,
Yeah.
not actually my baseball or basketball or something like that. But I did. I played from little all the way growing up, and I played in the Babe Ruth league. So it's a summer league.
Sure.
And we had an amazing team called Flax down in South Central Texas, and we made it to the World Series a couple of years.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it was a big
It's a big
big
deal.
thing for
I
me.
Our
understand.
grandson
Right, it was big.
is 16,
Mhm.
and he is a baseball player, and he's hoping to land somewhere in a college soon.
When he was 12,
but he's
in the tournament, his
Like
team
that.
finished first in the state of Texas in the age classification they played in, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And he just said he wanted to go out for football this fall, and we were like,
No.
well, he did, and he's
Uh,
doing great at it
yeah.
too. He's a starter,
Uh-huh.
and we're like, okay, so he's an athlete. That's why
Yeah.
I said you were an athlete.
Yeah.
You can do
Yeah.
anything.
Well, I could do a lot, but
But
what
you chose you liked
I loved basketball.
Oh,
I just wasn't like 6'8"
yeah.
or anything like that.
Yeah,
And
really,
being in
right,
small
right,
town
right,
Texas,
right.
I was the tallest one on the team, so I played center. So I didn't develop, the Curry handles and the shot or anything like that.
Okay.
But I got into playing baseball, and I did. I had good runs all the way up through a lot of tryout camps, minor league, major league baseball tryout camps. And what ultimately happened, because they graded you out. They grade you out on your arm, your
Sure.
bat, your
Yeah.
speed, everything.
Yeah, I've heard
So I had A's all the way around on my bat and my arm, and my speed was like, I didn't have the height and I didn't have the legs. I was a D on my speed, so that pretty much
well,
I'm slow.
well.
It pretty much keeps you out of anything that you want to do, especially with AstroTurf coming in and stuff like that.
Sure.
It just wasn't meant to be. So you know what? It brought me here. I found my
But the
lovely wife,
foundation-
and I built this business.
The
So I'm happy.
foundation that you get from dedication like that when you're young
Look,
carries forward for the
It
rest
does.
of your life.
guys, I'll tell you, sports and business,
They work hand in hand.
it works hand in hand. I take and I draw from so many things that I learned
Sure.
in sports.
Absolutely.
We learn how to be gracious winners, right? We learn how to accept a loss and know that it's not a failure, but to get up and move forward. I mean, there are plenty of
Sure.
times. Well, I'll give you an instance. There was a time in the regional tournaments when I was in that 16, 17-year-old deal where, I had a horrible game. Probably 2 or 3 strikeouts, I don't know. But guess what? I came up at the bottom of the ninth, got a base hit,
Won the game.
and won the game to
See?
put us into the place to go to the World Series.
Well,
So
yeah.
you have to always
You have to
stay
swing.
up.
You have
You
to
always
swing.
have to.
Yeah, and that's got to be hard. I know our grandson, he gets down on himself when he doesn't hit, strikes out or whatever, and he's a catcher.
Uh-huh.
But we're teaching him. We're all teaching him that it's okay. This is
He gets
part of
really
your
upset with
growth.
himself.
And like you
Yeah,
said, you can't let it stop you from moving forward.
No,
You know?
it can't allow you can't.
And
It can't stop
changes.
yourself, but you also have to realize in baseball, it is a true team sport. You have other
Yeah,
players
and
out
you're
there that
affecting
count
others.
on them. They count on you to perform at the highest level as soon as you walk off that plate, right? You got to be mentally there to be better, on the field. So there's a lot of things I drew from that, and
really good.
I talked to my daughters about it because they play volleyball, so the same kind of concepts come in place. Even though they play beach, it's only two people. It's still a team, right? It's not a group.
Right.
It's not a group.
Right.
It's a team.
It's a team, right.
But there's things that you have to pull from and how to elevate them. Kind of the same things
That's
we
very
talk
good.
about here in the office. How to elevate each other. How to hold each other accountable. How to pick each other up. So I mean, there's a lot of
as
positive
realtors, we
things.
spend a lot of time picking each other up and picking our clients up. They have days where things, didn't go the way they wanted them.
Their house hadn't sold.
And
in-
we
in
want to,
10 minutes.
we're there for them, and we want to tell them that we're going to have, we've got to have
Our-
faith, and we have a plan, and we're going to, so it's just always constantly helping other people.
What got
be
you?
better.
What got you in real estate?
I saw it. I worked for the city of Plano for 25 years.
Started when she
and
was 10.
I was,
Oh,
I,
nice.
I was involved with the commercial, our department was economic development.
Uh-huh.
Economic development is the department that works with new businesses moving to your area. And so we worked with commercial real estate agents mostly because I was working with the business side versus the residential. And I saw the rewards that these people were getting, the hard work that they did. And I just knew that when I retired, that's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then
4 months later,
Yeah.
I got my real estate license.
and I stopped getting hot home-cooked breakfast
And
every
he
morning.
It changed, huh?
Man.
decided he wanted to join me. One day I come home, and he had been looking for a better opportunity, a different opportunity, and he's like, I know what I want to
It's right
be
in
when I
front of
grow
you.
up. I'm like,
Right in front of
you're
you.
already grown up. What do you want to be? He goes, I want to work with you. And I was like, sure, this is great. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Isn't it
I didn't have
fun?
any doubts.
Our story is a little
So.
unique in that here we had found, I just love this business, and I've gone full-blown into it, and I got my license in April of 2015, so I'm only a couple years in the business, okay? But I still know what we're doing. And then in December of that year, I'm diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer,
Uh-huh.
which rocked our world, okay? And it's gonna rock anybody's world. Yet, we still went on appointments, we still sold houses, and did a very, very good job the first year. My testimony is God used his supernatural healing power to heal me.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's still in the miracle business. I consider myself a walking miracle
Mm-hmm.
because of that, because once I thought I was cured, it had spread to my brain, my liver, my spleen.
Wow.
It is a testimony, guys. I'm not kidding. Most of you that know us, especially on this camera here, know his story.
It's
It's everybody's story.
But you talk about picking yourself up. I was never scared.
Mm-hmm.
I mean this sincerely. I never called it cancer because I never gave it life in my body, me.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I had to be strong for her. And God honored that.
Mm-hmm.
And we learned, and this is, when I say God's supernatural healing power, you don't just say, God, come on in, use that supernatural healing power, come on, heal me. That's not how it works. You have to call it into existence, and the way you do that, trust me, is by increasing your faith.
Right.
God sees that you've increased your faith on a daily basis. He will honor and bless that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And he puts good doctors and nurses in your path.
In your path.
and then this year, it's been even more difficult, not because I'm cured of the cancer, but I had 4 cracked vertebrae in my back because of all the steroids, got pneumonia,
Okay.
got an intestinal infection, but that doesn't stop us. See, that's that makes you
There's
stronger.
two of us, so if he
Yeah.
can't do it or doesn't feel well that day, then I take charge, and we don't let our business suffer because
No.
of it.
Right, it's the big things that you guys
we've
got.
never-
These are big things, life,
Yeah.
big
Everybody's
events.
got big things.
Right.
So what?
Everybody has big things that
Deal
they
with
need to, that they have to deal with.
But we just give it to
That's
God.
how we feel like we can be more empathetic and sympathetic to people when they're going through their challenges, because we're human. We're doing the same thing.
Mhm.
But we're out there making it work, and that's what we want to do for you, and that's why we want to work with you, because you're the same way. You do that with people too.
Mhm. You invite them in and you let go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Pretty much.
I think that's a big part.
That's a
That's
great
the
strategy.
faith piece.
Yeah, it is. So,
That is pretty remarkable. I mean, I know the story,
yeah, you.
but every time
You've heard a bunch.
every time I hear it and just I mean, every time seeing you, I mean, every time hearing you talk about it, I mean, you are a walking miracle.
And it's because of God. It's not anything we did. And I'm not sure. I don't ask this question, why me, God? What I do is I get up every morning and I say two things. Thank you for the opportunity today to serve others
Mm-hmm.
and to lead people to find the joy that we now know.
That's pretty
Do
awesome.
your drum roll, Bob.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
it's a great life. I've married this wonderful woman for 39 years, two beautiful daughters who are very successful in their own right, what they do. And
Hoping to bring them into the business someday when we are ready to retire.
Okay, guys, you heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at that, you're taking over the business. I
I know
feel.
our grandson's interested, and
he's seen a
we're
couple of commission
looking
checks.
at.
He's like, I want to do that.
Yeah, we're looking at doing. We're building a legacy, and it's for our children and for their children.
Tell
for
them,
their children.
tell them how to get a hold of you.
Okay.
Oh,
Go ahead.
well.
So give me your numbers, your digits,
my
your
digits,
your website.
214-335-4868. And if you want to find us online, it's properties.com.
However, that's where the caveat. October 1st, we are debuting a brand new, taking the wraps off of a brand new web resource that is tailored. And what we did is a couple of really bright people sat down with me and Lyn and said, what do you want to do? And we said, here's what people that we've worked with are asking us for.
Yep.
So we're going to reflect that in the brand new website that's coming up at the same address. The website we have now is not anything bad. Okay?
Sure. No.
It's just not as
It's just
functional as
like anything
this,
else. Yeah, you want to.
this is going to be, and it's going to take a better use of the technology that we have access to because of Keller Williams. Our mobile app's going to be on there.
Mm-hmm.
We guarantee, by the way, and this is something that we talk about that nobody else does. We guarantee a 30-minute or less response when you place a phone call to us. My number, 972-533-4145. You'll get a call back during normal business hours. This isn't 24/7. We guarantee 30 minutes, But
2 a.m.
yeah, right.
I mean, I might answer you at 2 in the morning. You never know. Got my phone right beside me.
Yep.
Don't we
Never
all?
know.
But I mean, so we're the only company I know of, and we're an LLC that Innes Realty team that does that, because it's important that when you want to talk to us,
Mm-hmm.
we
Or
want to.
text, or
We want to be able to talk
Online.
to you. We don't want, well, I'm not calling them back until a week from Thursday because they treated me poorly. You hear all these stupid stories. Look, the customer experience is what this is about.
Mm-hmm.
So give the customer what they want. They want to be contacted when they want to be contacted.
Agree.
Simple.
Keller, you mentioned said that we've moved from a real estate company to a technology company. And I'll tell you, my mind has gone from a mortgage company to a media company.
Sure.
yeah, it's really a good point.
I can see that. I can see that with you.
I just see that as we continuously evolve.
Sure.
Yes, technology is important. There's no question about that. Mortgages, obviously, that's how we do everything we do, right?
Sure.
Why we do what we do. But how we go about doing all this stuff, I think, is more about media and our ability to drive more attention
Sure.
to our brand than others. Right now, hey, look, I don't have the hundreds of millions of dollars to throw at marketing like these other big companies that sponsor golf channels and all that kind of stuff do.
Right.
But I can navigate my local markets a whole lot better. And
You do a good job, Bob.
well, thank you.
I mean,
thank
look,
you.
we're
It's
on
exceptional.
Facebook right now.
Well,
Why?
yeah, well, you're gonna be on Facebook, Instagram. You're gonna be at Twitter. We're gonna take this. We'll probably distribute it out. We'll get you like a 10-minute segment so you can put it on IGTV. Well, I mean, this one. So we talk about content, right? Macro and micro. Instagram TV, IGTV, Instagram. Oh, okay.
She just now started to use Instagram with me.
Okay, it's big, guys.
I have a lot of
it's
things
huge.
I do, but I do
It's
like
huge.
social media too.
It is, and it's a great way to connect, talk about experience, a great way to connect and engage with people. But with business, we can't do anything in our business without the attention of our customers.
Sure.
And it's getting more and more difficult to gain their attention because there are so many ways that they're learning. They're on, whether it's TV, it's radio, it's podcast, it's blogs, it's just looking at pictures and things like that on all their. I mean, there's so many ways to do it. So you have to have a solid, production schedule, content strategy, distribution schedule. You got to get to them in a lot of different ways. Like I know my wife, doesn't necessarily she doesn't like watching videos.
Right.
She'll read stuff.
Okay.
So I have to take my videos, convert them to text, so she'll actually read it to see what the heck happened.
Well, there's the secret right there.
Right? It is. I mean,
Just gave it away, y'all.
Yeah. I always give it away.
The reason you want to know about us is because, for example, last night we got in a brand new, completely finished, 4,000 square foot. It's actually, I think it's 4,016. Corner lot, sits on a cul-de-sac, no neighbors in the back, plantation shutters, 2 bedrooms down, media room down, $100,000 off list. See, if you don't know
Right
us,
in McKinney.
if
Wow.
you don't know us, you're not going to know about those. So one of the benefits is if you're looking for a new home, and you can, this home is special. It's built by Highland.
Wow.
Highland Homes. It normally lists for $690, and because of certain conditions and events, they've got it bottom line priced at $585. You can't get that anywhere. That's not going to show up on Realtor and Zillow.
Sure, truly. I mean, all these other sites, right?
So there's another benefit to knowing us. It's a little different than knowing you.
Yeah, so give us a call and we'll be glad to send them over to Bob.
Hey,
First off,
yeah, make sure that's the tip number one,
Number
right? Make sure
one.
they can afford that
Exactly. We always tell
$585.
them that.
But no, that's a
Yeah,
good
we do
point. I
always
mean, there are so many reasons why you guys always. I mean, you're always at the top. I mean, just because you know these types of things, they're in your back pocket. You know what you're looking for in the market. But I think to your point in the very beginning, you embrace the disruption. You love the technology. You're always looking for that to help these people over here. So I appreciate you guys.
Man, this has been
it's
gone by way too fast.
I appreciate. Oh yeah, it goes by quick.
See, last time we got some breaks. This time we just had to keep going.
You just gonna keep going. We're gonna keep rolling. I find that's better. The breaks, nobody wants a break. Let's just get in and get out.
I love this new format. I really
thank
do.
you so much.
Thank
for
you,
having us.
Brandon.
It's fun.
Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for hanging with us on the 60th episode of the Bob Mortgage
Honored
Jam
to be
session.
number
I love
60.
being number
Honored
60.
Number 60.
Yep.
Yeah.
So thanks again for giving me your eyes and your ears. We really do appreciate it, and go make somebody else's day even brighter. Take care.